Hello and welcome to A Gameplay for All Seasons. Today we're talking about Hogwarts Legacy once again, and what we're talking about this time is wands. Now, if you are thinking to yourself, I'm not that excited about the wands, I kind of have whatever they'll give me, then perhaps you haven't thought so much about how interesting actually the wands and the choices you have are and what it says about your personality. In this video, I'm going to talk about the three elements of wands. So firstly, you have the type of wood. You then have the core of your wand, and then you have the length as well. So we cover what those three different elements are, the choices you can make, and what they all mean. Now, just before we launch into this, I will say that if this isn't your first video here on this channel and you haven't yet subscribed, we'd love it if you hit that button and join us and help build what we're trying to build here on this channel. So let's get straight into it then. Okay, so let's start with probably the more expansive and interesting part, which is around the wand and what actual wood it is made from. Now, I will initially start off by saying that there is some really good information on this out there on the internet. If you look at Harry Potter wiki and in specifically to wands, there's a whole load of really interesting information about this, and all this information is there. And like I say, if you find this video interesting, you can go on there, you'll find loads more information and you should find it quite interesting. But what I've done is I've gone through and I've had a look at all the different types of woods and sort of summarised what each one means at a very, very high level, just to give you a bit of a flavour and try and show how interesting this could be. So I'm literally going to run through a list of woods here and tell you what personality type that type of wood would be drawn to. And you can kind of think yourself, which ones do you think most are suited to you? Starting at the top then, we have ash. So ash is a wand that Cedric Diggory had, and the main personality type for this one is that it's a person who is not lightly swayed from their beliefs, which I think potentially is something that might suit me. Next we have beech, and this is someone who is wise beyond their years. Then we have cedar. Now this is one for someone who's very perceptive. Horace Slughorn actually had this wand, which is a bit of a contradiction because he wasn't very perceptive. But yeah, if you are perceptive, then like I say, cedar should pick you. Next you have chestnut. Now this is an interesting one because it's for people who would be skilled at taming magical beasts or herbology or even a natural flyer. And this is actually the one that Peter Pettigrew had. Next we have cypress, and this is for someone who's very self-sacrificing, much like Remus Lupin was, and he indeed did have a cypress wand. So next you have ebony then, which is a nice attractive looking wood. This is for people who are very courageous to be themselves. They enjoy combative magic and transfiguration as well. So again, this is one that I think a lot of people would probably say may suit their personalities. Then you have elm. This is for someone who is of pure blood and has a lot of presence around them. Lucius Malfoy had an elm wand. As you can imagine, he fits those things. Next you have fir, and again this is for someone who's very, very good at transfiguration. They're focused, they're very strong-minded, and they're occasionally a little bit intimidating, and this is what Professor McGonagall had. Then you've got hawthorn. Now this is for healing, but also very good for curses. It's for someone, as can be told by those two things, of a very conflicted nature, i.e. Draco Malfoy, who had that sort of wand. Next you have hazel, and this is someone who is very emotional. Now if you're an emotional person who can control your emotions, then this is going to be a very, very good wand for you. If not, then it's going to kind of do rather peculiar things. But this is what Sybil Trelawney had. As we know from the films and the books, she was very emotional, so suits her well as well. Next you have holly. So this is someone who kind of needs a bit of help to overcome anger, i.e. Harry Potter, and this is the one that he had. Then you have hornbeam. Now hornbeam is for very obsessive type of people. That can be in a good or a bad way. Victor Crumb and Garrick Ollivander both had a hornbeam wand. Then you have laurel, which is an interesting one because laurel will absolutely not perform a dishonourable act, which is interesting. Maple are for people who like travelling a lot. There you go, if you like travelling, maybe maple's for you. Pear is for people who are very popular and well respected. It's never been found knowingly in the possession of a dark witch or wizard. Then you have pine. This is for people who are more loners, but are also destined for long lives. So an interesting one there. Then you've got poplar, which is for people with a very clear moral vision. Eldritch Diggory had that, and that is the wand type he had. Next one here that appeals to me, and I like to think I've got very fast reactions, is Red Oak, and this is one for dueling. It's for people with fast reactions. Then you have Red Wood. This is, again, an interesting one. It's for people who manage to snatch advantage from catastrophe and manage to fall on their feet. So again, if you're that sort of person, Redwood may well be for you. Then we've got Rowan. So Rowan is very, very defensive. So for people who more want to defend than attack, that's the one for them. And then you have Spruce, which is for people who are very bold, they have a firm hand, but they also have a sense of humour. And then the last one that I wanted to mention, like I say, there are many more of these, and as I say, Harry Potter Wiki, if you're interested in this stuff, go over there, pick yourself a wand, or a wood type for a wand, is Vine. And this is for people who want to seek a greater purpose, and their personalities with many hidden depths, and they're people who constantly surprise those around them. Hermione Granger, unsurprisingly, had a vine wooded wand. So that's the first element I wanted to talk about there. So that is the actual woods within the wands, and that is probably the most choice you're going to have here. If we actually talk about the core of the wand itself, there's 3 very well known ones. So first of all, you have Dragon Heartstring, you have Phoenix Feather, and then finally you have Unicorn Towhair. Now these 3 are very, very well known. The reason they're so well known is because these are actually the ones that Ollivander himself, or Garrick Ollivander himself, used for his wands. So if you went to Diagon Alley, chances are you're going to have one of those 3 inside your wand. But actually there is a much wider choice of things that people use. Some people use Kneazle Whisker, you've got Thestral Towhair, Thunderbird Towhair, Velahair. There's all sorts of other ones you can use. There's a bit less of a connection here between personality type and actual the core, but in itself it's still quite interesting. So as I say, you can sort of pick one that you think suits you. I think this probably less than the wood, because I think the wood, it's quite well established what that means. I think the game here, if they really wanted to and have a good mechanic about how you pick your wand, or preferably for me, how the wand picks you, is they can use the core and they can sort of feed into a personality type for all sorts of different cores. Because again, this is, in my own opinion, I think we might be getting our wand from the Hogsmeade Ollivander's branch, and they probably use different cores, so it gives a bit of flexibility. And again, it was 100 years ago from the Harry Potter films, so you can be creative and do what you want here, which I think is always a good thing when you're a developer. So the final thing that I want to talk about is the length of the wand. Now, essentially, most wands are somewhere between 8 inches and 15 inches. It's quite rare to get less than 8. It's quite rare to get more than 15. So most are in the middle and kind of condensed in the middle of that range as well. But in terms of if you get a longer and a shorter wand, they do actually mean different things. So firstly, if you have a long wand, it means that it's very strong, it's very powerful, but it actually has less control. And it's kind of for personality types who are big personalities, and it gives a sort of dramatic style of magic. But as I say, it's a bit less control. Now, the shorter you go, obviously you kind of get the reverse of that. So it's less power. However, it is more refined and elegant than the longer one. And it's for people who are more considered, and they can do sort of a bit more fancy magic, perhaps. So what does that all mean for me then? Well, for me, I think it probably means I want a red oak wand with a phoenix feather that is of middle length, that sort of sweet spot between strong but control. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As I said at the beginning, if you haven't subscribed, love it if you hit that button, and I will see you on the next video.